Elon Jay Waite was born in Walworth County, Wisconsin on February 2, 1852. He lived there until 1875, then moved west and ended up in Colorado, where he lived for a year and then made his way to Riverside, California. There, he lived about 2.5 years before moving back east and then back to California in 1882 and settled in the new colony of Redlands. Elon married Catherine Elizabeth Jones. She had come from Bureau County, Illinois, where she was born in 1863. The marriage between the two happened in 1889. I keep finding conflicting accounts of the number of sons Elon and Catherine had. Some accounts say it was 2, Richard and Leo. I have come across twice that it was 4 sons, Richard, Leo, Mark, and Elon J. Jr. One article stated the years they were born, and it had the youngest being born in 1898, which would be after Elon died. If that is true, then Catherine would have been pregnant with him when Elon passed away. Elon is the first person to plant an orange grove within the newly established city of Redlands. He purchased 2.5 acres on the corner of Center Street and Cypress Avenue. This intersection is exactly where Judson and Brown planned the downtown center of Redlands would be. However, things did not turn out that way, and the town center grew up to the northeast of this area. Elon developed a thriving orange tree nursery, and I read that at the time had over 60,000 trees growing in Redlands from his stock. His hard work was well known, and he helped start and direct the Redlands Orange Growers Association and even headed up the Chamber of Commerce for a few years. This restored and colorized photo is of Russell and Adeline Waite, the parents of Elon. I felt fortunate to find a photo of them, as a photograph of his wife Catherine has eluded me. Russell was born in Darien, New York in 1817, and Adeline was born in Branchport, New York in 1823. Both parents outlived Elon and are buried in the Redlands Hillside Cemetery. The morning I drove to the Waite home to take some photos of the colorful Victorian and maybe get some drone footage, I arrived and got out of the Jeep just as a gentleman was coming out of the home. I introduced myself and let him know what I was doing with the camera. The gentleman was Paul Morris, who with his wife are the current owners of the Waite house. Paul told me to shoot away as he was off to run an errand, but while leaving he told me if I were still there when he got back, he would show me some of the interior of his home. I told him thank you and immediately slowed down my shooting. When Mr. Morris returned, he invited me inside, and as I entered, I felt really grateful for the opportunity to see inside this historic home. The inside is like a grand museum with beautiful pieces of history. He collects lamps, clocks, and so much more. One room is filled with just antique collectibles of Redlands. When asked if any of these pieces came with the home, Paul said no. Nothing inside the home today came with it. He shared how bad off the home was when they purchased it 30 years ago. Hearing his description of the home then, and seeing what it looks like now, I could quickly see how much work the Morrises have done. I honestly believe that Redlands is indebted to them for bringing this historic old home back to life and filling it with her pieces of the Gilded Age and some much older. After showing me some of his home, Paul and I sat in the room that is in the circular tower as he answered my questions and shared stories about the home and how people who have had a connection with it have come by, and he has gladly helped them relive memories of the past. Learning how much time and work he has put into this historic home, I asked if he could go back in time, would he do it again? Without hesitation, he said, in a heartbeat, "You can see the passion he has for his home." One fact I shared with Paul is that I have been able to find only one photo of Elon Waite and none of his wife Catherine. Paul told me he would be right back, and to my delight, he came back with this old framed photo that was gifted to him and his wife by descendants of the Waites. And finally, there she was, Catherine standing next to her husband. The Waite home was built in 1890, and they moved into it in the early part of 1891. The Waites only lived in it a few years until it was reported they moved into a home across the street while their home was leased and turned into a boarding house. Upon Elon's death, it was sold to a doctor who kept it as a boarding house. The home has had many owners over the years and has been altered several times. The Waite home won the Heritage Award in 1975. The very first year it was given out to the Great Historic Homes by the Redlands Area Historical Society. Here's the Society's announcement, complete with a typo under the photo that says the K.J. Waite House. I want to give a special thank you to Paul Morris for his generosity in showing me his beautiful home and his stories and insight of this grand old home. Elon Waite died at an early age, and I read it was Bright's disease, which is known as nephritis now. It was Mr. Morris who shared with me that he was told it was caused by him being injured by a large piece of lumber that brought on the condition. Even though he was gone too soon, Elon was a big part of helping Redlands become the successful community that it is, as well as leaving a big, beautiful home that is now in the hands of the Morrises to preserve. After leaving the Waite home, I was headed south several blocks to the Hillside Memorial Park in the hills above the city to find Elon's grave. After locating it, I could see his family were buried all around him.